Welcome to the OmniCable Wire and Cable Education Series. Today we will focus on the standards for wire and cable. By the end of this segment, you'll be well versed in the standards for wire and cable. There are many things to learn about the standards for wire and cable, but shown here we have identified our main objectives for this education module. You will learn what a standard is, which standards organizations are important to us, and what products they reach. We will also discuss OmniCable's role with the UL and types of UL marks we offer. At the end of this module, a short quiz will be provided. See how much you learned about the standards for wire and cable. Wire and cable standards are intended to protect people and property from electrical shock and fire hazards. Regulations may be established by city, county, state, or national legislation. OmniCable's products have specific ratings and meet the standards of various organizations that indicate they are safe and effective in certain applications and environments. Each of our product training modules will inform you as to which standards a specific product meets, and this information can also be found on the spec sheet for each item. The American National Standards Institute, ANSI, was created to strengthen the U.S. market position in the global economy by helping to assure the safety and health of consumers and the protection of the environment. This organization oversees the creation, publication, and use of thousands of norms and guidelines that directly impact businesses in nearly every sector, from acoustical devices to construction equipment, dairy and livestock production, to energy distribution, and many more. ANSI is also actively engaged in accreditation, which means they assess the competence of organizations by determining their conformance to standards. You will often see ANSI standards listed on our telecommunication cables, including Cat5 material and our fiber optic cables. The American Society for Testing and Materials, ASTM International, is a globally recognized leader in the development and delivery of voluntary consensus standards. Over 12,000 ASTM standards are used around the world to improve product quality, enhance health and safety, strengthen market access and trade, and build consumer confidence. Beyond standards development, ASTM offers technical training programs as well as proficiency testing and certification and declaration. You will see ASTM standards, especially when it comes to the conductor construction, on almost all types of our cables, from small coaxial materials to Tech 90 armored cable. The Canadian Standards Association, or CSA, is a widely respected authority on safety and performance standards and certification. In order to create a CSA standard, a group of parties sharing common interests come together, bringing their combined knowledge, experience, and points of view to the table. Representatives involved in creating a new standard can include manufacturers, sellers, buyers, customers, trade associations, end users, and regulatory authorities. The CSA is accredited in the U.S. and Canada. They develop standards in a wide range of subject areas that speak to product safety and performance, process improvement, best practices, and safer work environments. From their initial charter in 1919, they have grown to become the largest standards developed organization in Canada. They also work with other SDOs around the world as a key contributor to international and harmonized standards activities. Their library of more than 3,000 standards and codes address subjects that affect the interests of industry, consumers, regulators, and the public at large. CSA standards reach a variety of our products. You can expect to see them on many cord items, VFD material, fiber optic cable, and even hookup wire. The Insulated Cable Engineers Association, ICEA, is a professional organization dedicated to developing cable standards for the electric power control and telecommunications industries. ICEA was founded in 1925 and is a not-for-profit association whose members are sponsored by over 30 of North America's leading cable manufacturers. It consists of 4 cable interest groups, which are power cables, communication cables, control, and instrumentation cables, and portable cables. You'll notice ICEA standards in many OmniCable product series, from tray cable to medium voltage cable to fiber optic cable. IEEE stands for the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers Standards Association. It was founded in 1884 and is the largest association for advancement of technological innovation and excellence. Within IEEE, there are 39 societies and 6 councils that represent all technical interests. There are over 117,000 student members. It develops global standards in a broad range of industries, including power and energy, biomedical and healthcare, information technology and robotics, telecommunication and home automation, transportation, nanotechnology, information assurance, and many more. Omni Cable offers a variety of products that have ratings from IEEE, including category cables, tray cable, and even armored medium voltage cable. The Mine Safety and Health Administration, MSHA, was founded in 1978 to enforce compliance with the Mine Act of 1977. The Mine Act of 1977 was created to eliminate fatal accidents, to reduce the frequency and severity of non-fatal accidents, to minimize health standards, and to promote improved safety and health conditions in the nation's mines. MSHA carries out the mandates of the Mine Act of 1977 at all mining and mineral processing operations in the United States, regardless of size, number of employees, commodity mined, or method of extraction. MSHA provides monthly lists of products that have been approved or certified during a given month. These lists are retained from previous years for reference purposes. Omni Cable's flexible and portable cords are often used in mining environments, and you will notice that MSHA ratings appear quite frequently in their listing of standards. This is also a common standard organization that appears along with our motor supply cables. The National Electrical Manufacturers Association, NEMA, is the Association of Electrical Equipment and Medical Imaging Manufacturers and is one of the leading standards development organizations in the world. The Codes and Standards Committee is composed of technically knowledgeable representatives of NEMA member companies, which are appointed each year by the NEMA Standards and Conformity Assessment Policy Committee. Committee members represent a cross-section of the broadly diversified interests and products within NEMA. The most important function of the committee is to review for approval and appropriate action on all proposed standards, reports, or technical documents which represent NEMA standards. NEMA is a federation of over 50 diverse product sections that are grouped into 8 divisions. NEMA's member companies manufacture a broad array of products including X-ray machines, motors, generators, lamps, cable tray, building wire, enclosures, traffic controls, nurse call systems, batteries, residential controls, and more. NEMA publishes over 600 standards, application guides, white papers, and technical papers. This organization was created in 1926 as a result of the merger of the Electric Power Club and the Associated Manufacturers of Electrical Supplies. You will often see NEMA standards listed on flexible and portable cord products as well as some of our medium voltage items. The National Fire Protection Agency, or NFPA, was founded in 1896 and is a global nonprofit organization devoted to eliminating death and injury, as well as property and economic loss due to fire, electrical, and related hazards. NFPA's membership totals more than 65,000 individuals around the world. NFPA members are invited to maximize their membership benefits by joining one or more of their 12 industry-specific sections. This organization delivers information and knowledge through more than 300 consensus codes and standards, research, training, education, outreach, and advocacy. The National Electric Code, or NEC, is a safety code created by the NFPA and first published in 1897. Over the years, the code and its accompanying National Electrical Code Handbook have undergone radical restructuring to reflect the latest electrical and wiring technologies. The NEC project includes 19 code-making panels and more than 450 panel members, which help revise and edit the National Electrical Code Handbook. NEC standards are extremely prevalent throughout Omnicable's selection of wire and cable. You can find its listings from simple sound and security cables to control cables to armored medium voltage cables. UL stands for Underwriters Laboratories. UL was founded in 1894 and has 1,507 current standards for safety published. The Codes and Standards Committee is appointed by the NEMA Standards and Conformity Assessment Policy Committee. It covers over 50 product sections, which are grouped into 8 divisions. UL standards are perhaps the most common that you will see on Omnicable's product offerings. They are listed on all sorts of materials, from thermocouples to tray cables and twin-ax data cables to medium voltage materials. Omnicable has been approved by the UL to be an authorized respooler of wire and cable. What does this mean? We have the ability to respool material from a master reel onto a new reel and apply our own UL mark as processed wire respooled. This shows to UL and to other participants of the supply chain down the line that we have done our due diligence and maintained the chain of custody of the UL marking. Starting at receiving, Omnicable ensures all products that are supposed to be UL listed or a recognized component arrive with the correct markings and manufacturer's tag. We will reject any material that has missing marks. After receipt, we will ensure that the marks will continue to stay with the material throughout its life in the Omni Distribution Center, from receiving to storage to processing to reruns. When we process a reel, we will only perform a UL task if it is requested and only if the reel retains its original mark. UL requires that we follow these procedures strictly and does not allow us to do the following. Sometimes a reel will be missing the original source tag from the manufacturer due to loss or damage. If this happens, we cannot mark an item with our UL mark. If a reel has no UL listing or is considered non-UL, we cannot place a UL mark on these items. If the material is CSA only, we cannot put a UL mark on the material. If it has a UL mark and a CSA mark, we can mark it as UL. Finally, if material has left the DC and the customer asks for UL markings after the fact, they will have to return the material to the original DC to receive the mark, and only if the original master reel and its marks are available. We are not allowed to mail out UL marks to our customers. Failure to comply with UL regulations can result in fines, suspensions, and/or revocation of our ability to put UL markings on our products. Omnicable is authorized to place UL marks on wires and cables provided that the wire carries a UL listing or recognition. Here we will explain the types of marks. UL certified, formerly known as UL listed, are a group of wires and cables that have met UL's safety testing requirements. There are multiple variations of markings, some for use in the US, others for Canada, and still others for both markets. Omnicable is authorized to respool and mark a reel 2 different ways. If the source reel has a UL listed mark, we can mark the respooled reel with a certified mark. If the source reel has both Canadian and a US UL markings, we can mark the reel using the combination certified safety US-CA UL mark. Some cables are marked with a UL recognized component mark, which is stylized as a reverse RU. These are marks consumers rarely see because they are specifically used on component parts that are part of a larger product or system. These components may have restrictions on their performance or may be incomplete in construction. Again, Omnicable is authorized to respool and use the recognized mark if the source reel has this mark. If the source reel has a recognized mark, we can mark the respooled reel with the same mark. If the source reel has both Canadian and US UL markings, we can mark the reel using the combination recognized CRU US mark. Next will be a short quiz to see how much you learned about standards. True or false, wire and cable standards are intended to protect people and/or property from electrical shock and/or fire hazards. True or false, there are different wire and cable standards a manufacturer must meet when dealing with specific industries and/or applications that a particular material is typically purposed for. True or false, CSA is a standard organization that is both accredited in the U.S. and Canada. Match the organization to its purpose. Drag the organization name to its most appropriate description. Match the term that best describes itself. Drag the term to its most appropriate description. Match the UL type with its best description. Drag the type to its most appropriate description. True or false, OmniCable can only send out cut lengths of wire under the markings of listed processed wire, respooled, or recognized processed wire, respooled. True or false, non-altered material from the manufacturer will keep its designated UL marking through to the end user, provided the reel still has its original identification label. Choose from the following. If a reel goes out to the customer without a UL label, you can do the following. If UL procedures are not properly followed, the following can happen. This concludes this Wire and Cable Education Series module. Thank you for taking the time to learn about the standards of wire and cable.